Hello and welcome to the Box Angeles podcast with me. I'm your host, Mike Elder. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure having you. I know your attention is limited. You only have so many hours in the day, so thank you for spending them with me. I got a quick shout out to Bradley Goodine. He is a subscriber on Patreon. Thank you, Bradley, for your support. It means the world to me. If you want a shout out, go over to the Patreon. I've got all the backlog of audio episodes up there. I let you know who's coming up before anybody else. There's a lot of resources there, so go check it out. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, boxangeles.com/YouTube. Talk about resources. I got so many interviews with so many great people, so don't miss a clip there. Who do we got on the podcast this week? We've got a great interview, as always. This week, I'm talking to casting director Lindsay Bronson. Lindsay is the third casting director at AHC Casting. Primarily, they do a lot of commercials. The other two I've already interviewed, Maya Adrabi and Allison Horn, who you may recognize. Lindsay's the third one, and we finally completed the trifecta, so I was excited to talk to her. We had a great conversation. We talked about all the important things I love to cover with casting directors, but more specifically, we talked about how to handle kids in auditions because that's sort of one of her specialties at AHC is handling kids. So I talked at length about that because I've had a lot of group interviews with kids, auditions. We also talked about session directors, all the big things that matter to you and matter to me. We got into the nitty gritty of casting, and Lindsay was delightful. I hadn't interacted with her much, to be honest, so it was great to sit down with her, and I think you're going to dig it. So, without further ado, I give you...
Hi, I'm Lindsay Bronson.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hi.
It's so good to talk to you.
It's good to talk to you.
Why are you nervous? She said she's nervous before we started this.
I am a little bit.
Let's talk through it. Why are we nervous?
I just am like, I don't know what Mike's going to ask me.
Sure.
And am I going to have really anything to of value to contribute to the show? And then also I listened to a little bit of Maya's when she came on.
Your coworker, Maya Adrabi.
Maya. And you were like, here's the stats of when I've been called in. And I'm like, oh my God, am I going to have to do fast math on the show and talk about percentages?
There's no math.
Okay.
There's no math.
Woo.
Don't be nervous. It is interesting, though. We come to you often.
Yeah.
And we don't know what to expect.
That's fair.
I will tell you it's so weird to me how many times I don't get sides before I get there, and I have no idea what I'm doing before I get there.
I think about that when we send the auditions out. That would make me nervous as an actor. But I mean, I guess we're just there's not that much. We're going to explain when they get here. It's so easy. But I'm like, is it? Because we've had so much time with the script, and we've talked with the director, and we've all three been like, this is how it should go. Yeah, easy peasy. But we already know, and we're not the ones doing it. So I get that.
So I flipped the switch on you now.
You
and
did.
You get to have nerves. Although I had a Zoom audition this week, and I'm not going to lie, it was for a TV show, and I haven't had a Zoom audition in forever. And I got
they're not that common.
I got a little bit of nerves cooking, and I was like, I texted a friend. I was like, I'm nervous, but I like this feeling. It makes you feel alive a little bit. Mm-hmm. Do you feel alive a little bit right now?
Well, maybe it's my tea or maybe it's nerves. Could be caffeine or the nerves. Let's roll with it, Mike.
Well, I just find in life, when you go towards the things that you're afraid of, that's where growth lies. And that's where you're going to leave here feeling really good, I think. Unless I do a really bad job, which could happen.
We're going to learn. We're going to become better people today. I'm excited for it.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you. Although, did Maya tell me, and keep me honest, so it's you, Maya, and then Allison Horn at AHC.
Yes.
You focus on, your emphasis is largely kids audition? Is that what Maya told me?
Yeah, well, I've taught a kids class for a very long time there, and I work with kids privately. So I work with the kiddos a lot, and I love that. That's my favorite part of the job.
Okay.
And then I also do a lot of the beauty casting, which is fun. It's like flipping through a magazine, that prep. And then I do a lot. I spearhead all the real people casting too, which is really hard.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part of the job for sure.
So we probably don't cross paths much.
Well, I mean,
have you brought me in at all? I don't know.
Sure.
You have.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that's my focus or what I emphasize, we all prep everything.
Okay.
So I'm still prepping and watching all the self-tapes and giving self-tape explanations for stuff that's not kid-related at all or beauty-related at all.
Okay.
We're all very much a group of the three of us work on everything together.
Got it. Because I haven't had a lot of beauty auditions lately, and I'm starting to wonder if I'm losing
Sometimes
it.
people are intimidated by those who are too hot. You know what I mean?
This is great. This is going great. But I did want to ask you about kids specifically because I audition with kids from time to time. And I'm not going to lie, I get a little nervous because it seems like it can be a wild card. Like
it sure is.
If they're good or bad or just disorganized and their parents are hovering there. So can you give me and other actors listening to this advice on how to audition with kids in a group audition? Do you have any thoughts? Or
I sure do.
Give it to me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's so funny because parents in my kids' class ask me that all the time. Well, he got partnered with a little girl who was supposed to be his sister, and she was just a dud, and I really think it hurt his chances. And I'm like, it didn't. It's totally fine. And it's the same for you guys. Like, if you get partnered with a kid who is just like so shy, it's their second audition ever, they cannot execute in the room at all. I don't think adult actors should leave being like, oh my God, that was the worst. Like, I couldn't get this kid to say anything to me. Like, we recognize that. It's not like we're like just watching you struggle and been like, well, I guess Mike can't play a dad because he couldn't get that kid to talk. Like, no way. You know what I mean? It's just like any other partner at all. In my opinion, it's the same as like if you're going to go in with someone playing your wife. Like, if you have the time, you should sit with that person. If you know who your partner is in the lobby, like, get to know them, at least their name, like, where are you from? You know, what's your favorite TV show? Like, just ask them a couple of questions because I think as the more experienced and mature performer, like, they are looking to you for that guidance and that, like, you know, they're like at school. You're like all of a sudden like, what do I do? Where do I go? What do I say? You know, obviously there's going to be like a ton of little kids who are, I mean, it's so funny. Sometimes we audition kids whose resumes are like twice as long as the adults. Like, they're insane little actor kids, you know? And I'm like, they're good. But like, I just think it's about connecting with whoever you're going in with, whether they're a little kid or not, you know? But I would definitely advise, like, if you know the person that you're going to be going in the room with, put your book away, put your phone away and talk to that kid, because that's the best way to like connect with them and have some sort of chemistry going into this very unnatural space where now all of a sudden you guys are in front of a camera with a room full of strangers, which is, if you're nervous, think how they're feeling. And you have to pretend that you're in a Subaru on a family road trip. Like, that's just so hard, you know? So the more chemistry, the more ease you have with a kid going into the room, of course, the better off you're going to be, you know?
Yeah, that's great advice. My follow-up to that is, and maybe it's because I'm kid phobic, do I ask the parent if I can talk to the kid first, or do I just talk to the kid?
Yeah, I mean, usually they're going to be sitting with their parent, I would imagine. So yeah, just go over. I think it's best to like maybe, you know what I mean? If they're sitting with their mom or dad, to like incorporate a whole, you know what I mean? Like, hey, how you doing? I'm Mike. Hey, what's your name? You know what I mean? Like, it can be a group thing. Yeah,
that's great advice. I find it fascinating. I've had a lot of in-person recently, and I still find it fascinating how many people are just staring at their phone before going in there, because I'm like, I want to get mentally focused. Even just now, I caught myself looking at my phone waiting for you, and I was like, wait, let me think about questions, make sure we're on and everything. But like, people staring at their phones before auditions is so weird to me, because that's the last mindset you want to be in, is distracted. Like, you should be focused on what you're working on.
Well, I mean, I'm not certainly like judging. I'm in my phone all the time. And if I were an actor, like, sometimes you guys are waiting for such a long time and you don't know who your partner was. So like, yeah, pull out your book, of course. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're given the opportunity to know who your partner is or know who you're going in with, it always does surprise me if I'm like pairing couples or something like that in the lobby, and I'm like, okay, Mike, you're going to go in with Sarah, you're going to go, or, you know, Susie, you're going to go in with Brian, and people are like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, wow, really? Like, I would just be like, oh, hey, like, we're ready to pretend that we're married. Let's just say hello first. Like, I don't know. For me, I'm not doing it.
No, I totally get that.
Like, connecting would be the smarter thing to do.
I totally get that. But to Maya talked about this in the podcast, that there's a lot of people. No, she talked about there's a lot of like, she shocked some actors have reps. And I think sometimes I worry about that with other actors. Like, do I really want to talk small talk with this weirdo. And I realize how bad that sounds, but
no, I
think
that.
Some people are like,
I get that. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And especially, it's like you don't want to be like on a first date every audition you go to. I get that. I do understand that. I do. But it's also, the job. So, but first dates are your job.
Agreed. It truly is, really.
So it's like, that would be something that I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't do it if I were an actor. Maybe I would also get to the point where I'm like, you're professional? Okay, me too. Cool, I'll see you in there. Like, maybe I would feel that way. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, it always surprises me when I give people the opportunity in time. Like, hey, you guys are group 3. You guys are group 4. You literally have 3 groups ahead of you to like get to know each other and nothing. Like, not even sitting next to each other. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think if we have lines, I definitely do it because I want to kind of get running back and forth with them to get their sense of timing. And so back to the kids, like, do you have a sense of like in the room how to make kids feel more comfortable? Have you noticed anything that works or anything?
Sure. There's lots of, you mean for what you can do?
For me, yeah.
Got it.
Or should I embrace the chaos? I found that sometimes when kids are wild, I just like use it as part of, like, if I mess up, you're supposed to use that as like a gift, right? So if a kid's a wild child, I sometimes try to use that as a gift and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I think wild child, that's like, I would much prefer that over a kid that's just like, what are you going to do with that? That is really hard when they're just like shrivel and get really self-conscious and nervous and they're just like, looking around. That's impossible to work with, So if you get a wild buck in there, you're golden, man. At least they've got energy and really excited.
Well, that's true because they tell adults it's easier to pull you back. For kids, I guess that makes sense too, but
it's really hard. Like so often, we'll give self-tapes of like, we want your kids to be rambunctious, have them running all over the house, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's actually surprisingly, like, they're very self-conscious. It doesn't feel like natural or real watching them pretend to be rowdy. So if you just have a kid that in the room that is totally unaware or doesn't care at all, and they're just like talking and walking around and like, that's gold in a bottle right there. That's funny. That's great. So, but my advice, if you're asking, it's like, I think the best thing is to just embrace whatever you're given. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's kind of like if you're a real parent, you know what I mean? Where people are like, oh, I get uncomfortable when my kid is like really quiet at the birthday parties and they're holding onto my leg. It's like, who cares? Then that's what's happening right now. It's fine. Like, let the scene be quiet and feel comfortable in that. There's plenty of times in our real lives when things are quiet and just easy and you maybe have a little less to say. And that's beautiful and lovely to watch too, And then if it's chaotic, like, embrace that playfulness. Like, I think you just have to follow the energy in the room. And honestly, for a lot of times for kids these days, we're self-taping. The only time you're really going to audition with them in the room is callbacks. So you don't have so much to worry about because the director's going to take over.
Why is that? Why did you specifically say that for kids it's mostly self-tapes? Because
since the pandemic and everybody has gotten so accustomed to self-taping, kids in particular, it's difficult to, it's not difficult, but it's just, we have a lot less time with them to audition them because we can't see them until after school. So I can't even start scheduling kids until 3. None of them are available at 3. They're all like, she gets out of school at 3. Can she get a time frame? It's tons of time frames. It's tons of fallout. It's really hard on parents and agents and kids for like same day replacements because they're like, I'm taking one to soccer practice in this side of town. And it's too chaotic.
That makes sense.
So it's just easier for us to have all of them self-tape and then we call them back in for the callback.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is more of a challenge for you with kids? Is it the parents or the kids themselves auditioning? Like, do you find there's a pattern that parents are more of the problem than the kids, or the kids are more of the problem, or it's just sort of scattershot?
It just is who it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so funny. My husband always says, like, the kids only want it as bad as their parents do. That's funny. I'm like, that's so true. It really is. Like, if parents are real low key and easy about it, like, the kids are usually pretty easygoing too. But, I teach every month. So I get a new crop of personalities every single month. And it's just, for the most part, like, all of them are just like excited, it's just like soccer. Like, my kid's really into soccer right now. He'll talk your ear off about Pele and Cristiano and Messi. Like, he just is excited and really into it and wants, you know what I mean? So, like, The kids who are really passionate about it, sometimes it can be like, okay, all right, easy, easy, easy. But like they're just excited, or they just want a new thing to do after school. Or, you know, the parents are just like, I don't know what any of this is. Like, we're just here and they like it. So, and then they get really invested because they're like, oh, she got a call back. So now we're like really on the path. So it's kind of like social media. When you get a like, you like become invested. So it's a kind of a slippery slope, but it's really just like, yeah, you know, it's any extracurricular activity if you treat it that way.
Sure.
Which is kind of how I aim to like teach the class and like encourage people to look at it like that. It's just sort of like, it's just another extracurricular.
A fun thing, yeah. You mentioned like a kid shriveling up and not giving you anything. If an adult did that, I assume you wouldn't call them back. Or you'd give them a few months to figure it out.
Okay, yeah.
Right. If a kid does that, do you give them the benefit of the doubt on not showing up for an audition? Or are you like, Susie's not in this time?
It depends. Because there are times where you can really tell this is not something this kid wants to be doing. Or this is not something this kid is comfortable doing anymore. Yeah. You know? You can feel it. And I have stories of kids who've said things to me in the audition room where I'm like, wow, you do not need to be doing this. Like, my heart is breaking. Let's just play a game.
Like dark stories.
Kind of.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's just play a game and tell your parents you did great. Because I'm just like, oh my God. So I think it depends, because the one thing that we always say, like all of us in the office are parents, you know what I mean? So like it is a little bit, depending on their age, a crapshoot with kids just in general.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like one day they're going to be on fire and then the next day they're just not going to feel like it. So like they could crush it in the first call and then they come into the callback and they're just like they've had a bad day, or they're tired, or they wanted to go to McDonald's before the audition and their mom wouldn't let them. So now they're pissy. It's just like, you know what I mean? They're kids. So there is an unpredictability to their performance that is not present with an adult actor. You know what I mean? So it really, and we say that all the time, like clients would be like, oh my God, that kid is amazing. That kid was so good. And then we will think, I've seen that kid in callbacks before where they like really closed up and clammed up. So like, hopefully that goes well for you on set. You know what I mean? Or they'll say, oh my God, I love that kid's first tape. They just couldn't get there today. You know what I mean? It's just like any other actor. But to answer your question of whether or not I would call them back, it just depends on the project.
Yeah.
If I see a kid who's really shy and they still want to do this, you know what I mean? It can still be something that they think is fun. It's just really hard for them. I'm not going to call them in for the wild buck role because they're just not going to get there. And that's going to be really uncomfortable for them.
Right.
And my top focus is whatever I call your kids in for, I want them feeling great about what they did when they leave. I want them to feel good about their experience here. So I don't want to call them in for something that I know that is going to put them way outside of their comfort zone and they leave feeling embarrassed or self-conscious or, you know, that's like,
that's nice. Do you do that for adults too?
No, I don't give a shit about you guys. No.
Maybe.
No, we definitely like cater to certain comedic sensibilities for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me push back on something you said though. You implied that kids are unpredictable and they've got a lot going on, but I would argue that adults are unpredictable and have rent to pay and
for sure.
have
There's
mental
definitely
health
times.
issues that kids don't even fathom.
Yeah, there's definitely times where you've been like, I thought that person was going to be hilarious doing this. I guess they were just having an off day. And that would not prohibit me from calling them in again.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But if it was like the first time you saw them, it might.
It might. Because I wouldn't know that they were having an off day. You know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to that's like the tricky part. That's the hard part about auditioning. If it's like your first time, the first impression is hard because it's like, I don't know you. So is this how you always are? Or you just rent is due?
Right.
You don't have it.
You know what just came to me is, oh man, I'm going to go there. I think the one time I cried after an audition was one of your guys's.
Oh my God, Mike.
I'm pretty sure. Do you remember the Matt Stafford Little Caesars commercial?
We've done so many Little Caesars. But
do you know Matt Stafford is the quarterback for the Rams?
Yes.
Okay, it was... I'll just tell you the story.
Okay, tell me.
It was literally just like a tongue twister group audition.
Oh God.
And something I struggle with, maybe you can give me advice on this, is like when I get the lines, I make it a point to get off book. And then they always have the board and they say, read to the board. And I find myself off book, but also wanting to read. And it trips me up every time. It pisses me off. And I got to figure out how to break that habit. But it was a tongue twister. It was like pizza party, Pepsi hangout. And there was 5 of us.
Okay.
And all you had us do was like go down the line, each of us. And it was one of those things where the first guy tripped up and he got a couple tries. The second person tripped up, got a few tries. And then it got to me and the guy who got so short with me, he was upset.
The director or the
session director. He was upset because the whole group messed up. I couldn't get it out of me. He's like, just fucking read it off the board. And I'm like, and for me, I have really bad eyes. So if the board's far away, it makes it harder.
Mike's like,
that's not helping me.
Got it.
I got flashbacks to a kid when like the teachers would yell at me for not being able to read the board.
Oh my God,
and it's just exasperating. And I'm people. I don't even know if I got it out. And I left and I just bawled.
Oh my God.
It's the only time I've ever cried after an audition. I'm pretty sure it was, I'll have to look it up.
It probably was, yeah. It probably was. Oh my God.
But that was my day that I wasn't.
Yeah, you were just, and hey, you know what? We've auditioned you many times since then, Mike Elder, so there you go.
That's true. But also I saw that commercial.
We brought you in for a Pizza Hut recently, so you are not banned from that campaign.
That was Little Caesars though.
Oh, that's right.
Wait, you brought me in for Pizza Hut recently?
No, not Pizza Hut, Little Caesars, I said. That's what I meant, is Little Caesars.
Got it.
You played the mango tree.
I did play the mango. That's hilarious. I thought I did really good on that. Did you watch it? Did you like it? I wanted to play it even slower.
Oh my God, that was going to be my feedback. It was almost too slow.
That's funny. But I thought that would be hilarious.
It was, but
I made a choice. It was the wrong choice.
No, it wasn't wrong. It is what we asked. I laughed though, because I was like, I did watch like your last 2 self-tapes before today, because I was like, oh, I just want to remember like the last 2 that Mike did. And I was like laughing because I was like, oh my God, this is taking him forever to leave frame, which was funny. It's true, because you were supposed to be like sloth-like. So it
was like a tree mascot, and he didn't move fast. He's like, all right, here I go. And he moved slow.
You know what I really think it is they really want, like, Little Caesars loves quirky. And I really think they wanted super quirky behind that tree. The director did.
Got it.
Yeah.
Like quirky face?
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, they like really fun, unusual faces.
This is great. I like getting... See, this is what actors want is feedback.
Well,
so it's too slow, and my instinct was to go slower.
Oh, I know. That is hilarious. I guess maybe it would have been funny if you went even slower, because then I'd been like, oh my God.
Well, this is where I'm at with auditions. It's like, I'm so sick of like just playing by the rules. And I know how bad that sounds, and I keep bringing this up. But it's like, I got this backdrop. I put it in frame, I do the thing, but then I keep hearing about people that book it because they went above and beyond. And I'm like trying to figure out ways to do that.
What do you mean?
The example I keep sharing is like Ben Stiller was like, Britt Lauer's audition for Severance was incredible because she like laid on the bathroom floor and like did the whole scene. And it's like when people do go out of their way to like do the scene, which I hate and everyone I've interviewed in the last 5 weeks hates, but I swear people keep booking. So I'm trying to think of ways to stand out in the grounded reality of the square that we are supposed to do it in.
Yeah.
And for that, I was like, this would just be really funny if I made them watch 2 minutes of me slowly walking out. And of course I didn't do that, but I went as far as I felt like was comfortable.
Yeah.
And that was wrong. So but at least I took a swing.
It's not that it was wrong. I mean, it was like, there's not that much for that guy to do. It's true. You know what I mean? So like the visual of him was going to go a long way, and you just weren't
didn't
the
have
visual,
the visual.
that
That's
they wanted.
so interesting.
Yeah, I really think that's what it was.
Because we forget, there's so much, we don't forget it, but that's so much of what we audition is, especially for me when I do TV gigs and it's co-star. It's like, it's just how it looks. They're servicing the story. It's not.
Yeah.
What was the other self-tape you saw me do?
I'm trying to remember the product.
I like getting feedback. This is great.
You were a carpenter. You were like examining stuff. I can't remember the product that it was though. But you were supposed to come in and like, you were like not the workers, but you were sort of like,
I was like surveying the thing.
And yeah. And I was like,
I had a funny line in that. I felt like.
You did. I laughed. Your improv was like something about like the beams turned out beautiful.
Yeah, there's something funny in there. I thought that made me laugh.
I was like, Mike, you're so funny.
But I didn't get a callback.
I'm sorry.
Again, just the look thing?
Yeah, I mean,
it's so interesting.
That's to me like the most frustrating part of this whole business. Like I could never like the I'm not somebody who needs like a ton of control. I'm not like a control freak, but the lack of control that you have over like booking parts and all that kind of stuff is just like, yeah, that would become increasingly very frustrating for me.
You have to celebrate small wins, and you just saying that was really funny. Just it felt that like
I
made my day.
That
you know what
one
I mean? Though?
I did say to myself, I said out loud in the office, oh, why didn't you get called back? That was great. You did a great job.
I would love to know more about that.
So you did a great job.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But that's like, those little things give me fuel. Getting an audition is fuel, you know what I mean? And then you don't hear anything.
Totally.
It's like burns the candle down. But like hearing that, that's all we want. And obviously you don't have time to give feedback.
Yeah.
But do you ever go out of your way to give people feedback when they do something really well and
For sure.
and they don't necessarily get it still?
Yes. It might not happen like on every self-tape like that. There have been some though that are just like insanely challenging roles, or the self-tape is just hard, or the role itself, I'm just like, oh my God, these are going to be brutal to watch. This is really hard to do. I'll watch somebody and I'm just like, that was awesome. And it's not because they shot the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although I'm not somebody who hates that. Sometimes it's really fun where I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this. Like they literally shot the commercial. This is hilarious. And we'll think that's really funny. But then there's plenty of times where it's like very stripped down, very basic. You did exactly what we needed. It was beautifully done. A couple of great smart buttons. That's all we need, you know?
Yeah.
But there have definitely been times where I remember one callback in particular where it was live. It wasn't a call. It wasn't a self-tape where I was like, I can't do another one with this guy. Like improv in particular is something that I am just like so blown away by. I am obsessed with people who can do it really well. And this guy, it was just like, and do another one. Just change it up, do another one. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't watch this guy think of something else again on the spot. Like, how is he even coming up with more? It was like building this anxiety in me to like even audition it. And at the end I was like, that was fucking great, man. Like, that was incredibly anxiety filling for me. I cannot believe you just kept coming up with ideas. Like, it was so good. And he was like,
it?
Greg Roman. Okay. And he didn't get the part.
Oh.
Yep. And I was like, I couldn't watch you do another one. Not because you weren't crushing it, because every one of them was so funny. But like, how do you keep coming up with ideas? And he was like, how do you think I felt? I was like, noted. Like, so good. And our office has been like obsessed with him ever since. He's so good.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's really
But
cool.
I mean, there's definitely auditions where I'm just like, wow, crushed it. That was so funny.
Wait, let me ask you about something, because to that end, like, and I know you guys say for the most part you watch the full auditions. Mm-hmm. What is the reasoning behind? Like, I just did a self tape where it was 3 scenes and they wanted 2 takes each. Like, are we really watching all 6 takes
For a commercial?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're so short though.
Yeah, but like, it just feels like, do you really need 6 takes of 3 scenes? Like, I get 2 takes, 2 differences.
Yeah, 3 is a lot.
I feel like that's becoming more and more the thing where I get a self tape and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a journey to check off all these boxes.
Yeah. I think I can't say that that's something that our office really ever asks for. That does feel like a lot, especially to ask you guys to do so many of those. That feels like a big ask. So I don't think that that's something that our office does regularly. But if I had to guess, I would say maybe casting wants so many so that they can have a little bit more control over the session
Of what they say.
because because then I have more to get rid of.
That's funny.
If I'm like, oh, shit.
You're fine.
Are we okay?
You're fine.
Okay.
She hit the microphone and freaked out.
So, like, for example, on your, what were you?
Carpenter?
The surveyor.
Yeah.
Like, I would have put your second take first, so I have control over that. I liked the second take better. You know what I mean?
You guys do that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
If you upload the takes individually, I do. But I don't have the time to, like, download your whole footage, rearrange your stuff. But, like, that's why we prefer you upload the tape. Oh, my goodness, this guy loves me.
Sorry, there's a fly.
That's okay. If you upload the takes individually, then I can manipulate how
I don't know.
our
I don't know if I was known to do that. You guys say
We don't. No, not necessarily.
but we should.
I think so. It's so much easier to like
heard it here first.
manipulate it. That way, it's like if I don't even want to show my client that first take, I can just lose it.
Oh my god!
So that way I'm like
I always thought it was making your guys' lives easier to make it one.
No, I don't think so, because that way it's like sometimes, like I know, and this, again, I think this is the other reason why I was a little nervous about the show, because all of this is so subjective. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah,
It's so like, even within our office, like Allie really likes the slate to come first.
Yeah.
She's always like, the slate should be the very first thing I see. Like when she gives an explanation, I don't care. In fact, sometimes I don't, because sometimes the slate is like off-putting, or you give me more information than we asked for, and that's annoying. So, but your take is awesome. So like, I want the first thing they see of you, whether it's a really clean, nice, beautiful shot of your face and a great, easy slate, or the first take that you're doing the action, that's great. Like, I just want the very first thing that the director sees of you to be great.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. So I just want control. I guess maybe I do want more control than I thought I did. I guess I do crave that. I want more control over the footage.
That's really interesting that you guys, even in your office, disagree about how the best way to do it is.
I mean, I don't know that
makes sense, but
I just like guess I don't care really. But like some people have like a real preference of the slate first or the slate last, or
interesting.
to me, I'm just like, I know who you are.
But
it's a digital world. So even if you don't slate and the footage is great, I'd probably still keep it.
I feel that way. I don't know why we slate anymore, honestly. Like, slate seemed like a thing when you had physical headshots.
Totally.
And you had to, like, find a file to find this person.
And all the stuff in the slate, I'm sure Maya talked about that because that is really her thing.
You should wait till you see what other people are asking me to do in slates. It's insane.
Literally loses her mind when she's watching self-tapes. I'm not as cringy as Maya is, but like if you give more than your first and last name, you're on Maya Dravi's hit list.
Do you like when people like do the character in the slate?
No, what character?
No, you hate that?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I don't want that. Just be normal. And the other thing that's, we have thoughts about the slate. The other thing that's really annoying is when people don't like edit. You just have to. Like, I don't want you to introduce yourself like, hi, I'm Mike Elder. Take one. What? Why are you? Oh my God. Yes. And I'm just like, I know it's take one, bro. I'm watching your footage. Like, just edit it. You know what I mean? It looks so janky like that. I'm like, or people will walk you through it. This is my less happy take.
That's weird.
And then they'll go, and I'm like, just do that then. And then I'll know it's your less happy take. Don't,
if you're a good actor,
don't narrate it for me. But yeah, I don't want like to see you introduce yourself as you, and then I watch in your footage, you like prepare the scene to become the actor. Like, I just cut it and be in the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask something you mentioned earlier was you said if you do a group audition and the other person's bad, but you're good, you'll still bring that person in.
For sure.
I don't know if that's true. I want to push back on this. I feel like every callback I get, it's with the person that I auditioned with.
Well, sometimes maybe you're great with that person. There's definitely times where we're like, if it worked, if you guys both got called back, like
that's
it
generally
worked
what happens,
really well.
Yeah.
You know, it worked well in the room. So let's like build on that. There's already chemistry. You already know the person. You've already, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, in my opinion, that's a great reason to schedule you guys together, but it doesn't have to be. And then sometimes the director or the clients will request who they want to see you with. I really liked Mike, but put him with Lindsay this time. So.
But you're really bringing people in from a group that had a dud in the group.
For sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, and obviously this is why you do this job and not me. I would be so distracted by the dud, I feel like I wouldn't even notice the other people. You know what I mean? I would almost discount that tape because of the dud and forget about the other people in it.
No, I don't think so. I don't. I mean, you have to, like, acknowledge what the other person is able to, how they're able to like salvage the scene. Like that can be pretty impressive to watch. You know what I mean? Or that they can just, like we were saying before, my mother's calling me.
That's funny. My mom called me right before this and said, she said my last podcast was horrible.
Oh,
and I was like, great,
Mom.
I'm about to do a podcast. She just said I was not on my game, and I was like, great.
Talk about immediate feedback. You can count on your parents for it. What was I saying? Yeah, but it's sometimes watching somebody like save the room is great. You know what I mean?
That's really cool. Let me ask you something that I'm curious about. Okay. So I was talking to Maya about like people that book. Do you see a common theme among people that consistently book? Like, is there something there? Like Courtney Richard. I met Courtney Richard outside of Allison Horn casting at the last place you guys were on, off of whatever, Melrose or whatever. And like that mother effer books everything now.
He's awesome.
Like, what does he have? Is it just his look? Is it obviously he does everything right? But like, what is the key things that people like that bring that are just making them work? Do you see common bonds between people like that?
I would say that somebody like Courtney and the people at his level, I mean, first of all, they're obviously highly skilled, insanely funny, and very sharp in the room. But also, it's, we say this all the time, where if we're in a callback and there's a bunch of, and clients are deliberating on who they're liking, like sometimes they'll say like, that guy's just in everything though. They'll say that and it will be like against the actor, like a slight against them. And we'll often think like, yeah, I know they book everything. There's a reason for that.
Right.
And it's like, once your sort of ball is rolling, it's just like it clicks in. You just like understand this muscle, this like, which is what I always call it. Like the commercial muscle is so much different than the theatrical one. Like the stage improv muscle is so much different than the in the audition room muscle. So like once that commercial muscle gets really strong and you're booking a little bit and then you start to book a lot and you're building relationships with casting and you're really feeling confident in like what you can bring your perspective to an audition. Once that all clicks in, it's just like there's just like a confidence and an ease, and he comes in and he does his thing and then he's off to pick up his kid from school or off to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now his kids are auditioning like crazy too and booking everything. So
That's
there's
funny.
just an ease and this is just part of the job. There's no I'm totally speaking for Courtney right now. He's probably going to be like, that's actually not how I feel at all. But like, here's how it comes across.
Right.
That there's not a ton of overthinking, that it's just like, here's what I brought today. This is what I think about this audition. Here's what I think is funny about it. And here's my button.
Yeah.
Moving on. So like, that's what I see as the big common theme of just people like just having a real understanding of like, for example, we just booked a spokesperson role. It was a non-union job and they cast in multiple cities, several different casting directors. And they were very specific about what they wanted the recast. We were going to do we were the third casting team to pick up and try to find this for them. Very specific about what they wanted. We call in one guy and it's a Saturday callback. He's got to get to set. He's got stuff that he's got to do. He comes in, they work the least amount of time with him. He crushed it in the room. He's just obviously like a very brilliant comedic actor. He's just really, really funny in the fight core world. And he was hilarious and he booked it. And it was just like, yeah, there was no like, okay, if, like asking me like, okay, if I do it like this, or do you think like if I do it like this in the room, or like hanging out for a little bit afterwards, and like, if they need anything different, like none of that. It was just like, okay, thank you so much. Take care. On to the next thing. There's just like this confidence and this just like part of the job. Moving on. Like I really noticed that energy and that mentality about the work and the job that feels like a real common thread to me.
Yeah.
For the people who are booking all the time.
That's really cool. It's almost like a snowball, right? Like
a little bit,
you get one and it just fuels it and you just feel more confident. And then, yeah.
It's hard to get the ball rolling, I guess, you know?
Ain't that the truth, sister?
Yeah.
No, speaking of, like, Courtney's been on a heater. I think I met him at a McDonald's callback you guys had pre-COVID, and he's just been booking. What's like outside of like a spokesman role where they become like a spokesman? Do you ever see people have like really long commercial? I don't know how long you've been doing this, but like, have you ever seen anyone like dominate their 20s, their 30s, their 40s? Do you know what I mean? Like, keep going and like. Because otherwise, I feel like somebody like Courtney or Dan Gill or whoever might get overexposed and then have to pull back a little bit.
There's definitely actors that I feel like go away. Yeah, it's like impulses.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is there anyone that just has steadily been consistently in stuff that you can think of?
I mean, I just think that there's people that have just been working forever. Like Courtney is a great example. Izzy Diaz is a great example. Ryan Gall is a great example. Eileen O'Connell is a great example. Like she is a booking machine. And then it like, she like pulled, you know what I mean? Like was in a ton of stuff for a little while and now she's like pulled back again. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, there's tons of actors that I think have been doing it forever. And some teams are going to say like, that guy's in everything. That girl's in everything. Let's do this person. And then there's some teams that are just like, yeah, let's go with Courtney because we know he's a pro and that's why he's in everything and we love him and we don't care that he's in everything. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that, and as casting too, like we definitely have those moments where when we're prepping, we'll say, let's not pick this person for this one. They're just in so much right now. Like, let's give these 3 people a chance to come in on this one instead. Like, I do think like casting has to be aware of that. We can't just only show Ryan and Izzy and Courtney and Eileen on every single tape because then that would get like,
yeah.
Do you guys know anybody else? You know what I mean? That would make us look really bad. So casting has to kind of be aware of that too. But like, certainly there's a ton of people that have been doing it forever and ever and are just so, so good.
Yeah.
And
speaking of that, I ask every casting director this, but how do new people get in front of you? Like if I'm a new person fresh off the boat, how do I get in your purview or whatever?
That is so hard, I feel like.
Great. Go back to whence you came.
Go back to Ohio. You'll never make it here. No, I'm just kidding.
You heard it here first.
No, I mean that sincerely though. Like, listen, I moved out to California 20 years ago to pursue acting, you know?
Of course.
Like so
I was
many,
going to ask you.
So many casting people like come from the desire to have once wanted to do acting. And yeah, I think about that even now. It's just like, it's just hard. It just is. You know what I mean? Like, keep taking classes, keep doing workshops, you know what I mean? Like, keep talking to people. Who's your rep? Like, trying to get in for non-union stuff. It's just like, you just got to keep talking, listening. You know what I mean? Like, your podcast is a great resource. Like, who's doing this? What are these actors doing? How do I get advice from these people to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's just about like really communicating, really what I don't think is effective are the really old-fashioned methods of like spending all this money mailing little postcards, mailing your headshots, sending like unsolicited emails to the assistant account. Like a lot of that stuff gets like passed through, you know what I mean? Or it's just like, you know, we'll get like just very like kind of weird grainy pictures of like, I just moved here and I really want to act. Please reach out. Like, yeah,
that's
not
weird.
Not the best way to approach casting for sure. You know, and also, again, it's subjective. I think the reason I think it's so hard, if you asked Maya, she might be like, you know, stop in with a bottle of wine and I just want to introduce myself and I'm new to town and I really, because she is a little bit more receptive to that. When I'm working, like the drop-ins for me are tricky. That's a hard thing for me to navigate because I'm really like in work mode. So that's hard. You know what I mean? Like some offices may say like, just go in and introduce yourself and take some goodies. And it depends on the day. Sometimes that's a great way. And sometimes we're really overwhelmed and that's it's hard for us to take a second to like really get to know you. So it's just it's just trying all the avenues. That's what I think my advice would be.
Yeah. Do you like a postcard or recognition when you book somebody on something?
Do we like recognition?
Like if you booked me in McDonald's, and I sent you a postcard, would you like that?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That is different. Once you've booked something with us, we want
all the praise.
No. I was not going to say that, Mike. I was going to say that's when I do tend to see emails and I'm more receptive. I recognize them faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we have actors all the time that'll send us like a picture from set with them and the director or them and the other actor that, you know, thanks so much, having a blast. Like those are so cool. Fun. I would prefer that over a postcard, like an email of you on set because we're never on set. So those pictures are really fun for us.
Why don't you guys ever go to set?
I know. We're like the only casting directors that don't, I feel like.
You should.
I know.
You mean commercial or you guys? You AHC or commercial? Why don't you guys do it? Get down there.
I don't know. We're just so busy. No, I don't know. We just don't. And like, yeah, Ross, he was just talking. He's like going to set next week on a really fun one. And I'm like, oh,
You should do it.
We need to go to set.
Yes,
and
you
Allie
should.
was like, I know, we need to go to set some.
Yeah.
Our directors would be super receptive. I've only been to set. I think this is why. I've only been to set one time because they were shooting right around the studio from us. And I just always feel in the way. I don't feel like it's like a fun environment to like hang out. And sure enough, I felt really in the way. Like it felt like they were really behind schedule and there was no like, hey, it was just like, hey, you guys, all right. And then it was, I was just, I don't like it.
You should maybe book actors that you like hanging out with and then you'll want to go hang out with them like me.
Yeah, I see what you did there. Listen, I book you on everything. It's not my decision.
I know, and I'm not beautiful anymore, as we alluded to.
And not weird enough to be the tree. Where do you fit, Mike Elder?
If you could find out, let me know, because I need to find out. Wait, let's talk about quickly how you ended up in casting, because you said you came out here to act. So what was the switch and how did it come about?
About 20 years ago, moved out here, and I was in like classes and doing workshops and stuff like that, but not really like getting any traction. So I was encouraged to get an internship at a casting office.
By who?
My boyfriend at the time, husband now, who was a casting director.
Oh.
A theatrical casting director for a long time. And he was like, you should get an internship because it will give you more information about the industry as a whole, you know? So I don't know if you know this, but it's very difficult to get an internship in the city. If you're out of college, you like cannot get one. I didn't want anything to do with the commercial world. Of course, I wanted to be like interning with people who were doing cool television shows and movies and stuff like that. And I couldn't get one. And then the very lovely Dan Cowan, who I love at Broadcast, he said, yes, we'll let you, work here and you can learn here. And I loved working for him. I mean, first of all, he's very, very kind and super generous and very funny. So I loved learning under him. And I just kind of got to like, it was truly like a little internship because I just got like little bits of every section. I learned like all the admin, all the paperwork stuff, the Taft-Hartling, he let me like prep with him a couple times. Like I would just watch. I wasn't actually picking anybody. And then I was really grateful that he had taught me to do was run session. Like I learned how to cam up and run session. And that was really eye-opening for me. And while the internship was supposed to give me more perspective on like my acting career, what it really ultimately did was just scare me and show me how far away I was from my goal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. I was just like, wow, I am so far away from what I want to be doing. Like just watching the actors come in. And I wish that it had like instead like fueled me to like learn and get better, but instead it just scared me. And so I felt better and more comfortable and I liked the casting element of it. So I was just like, I'm just going to, as Maya would say, go where the doors are opening. So I went where the doors were opening, which was casting. And I just stayed and like learned how to do that. And so I was still like adjacent to it. I was still around all the creativity. And even once I moved over to Allie's office, I still auditioned a little bit. And that felt good. You know what I mean? I booked a commercial. I booked a national commercial at Allie's office when I was first starting with her, when it wouldn't have been weird that I was also a casting, in casting there. And then I just like, it just gradually turned into something that I was just more comfortable on the other side of it.
That's so cool.
I think I just saw too much of the sausage being made and it was just, I couldn't get that. I really am like the people who are in both casting and acting, like the people who work at 200 South and stuff like
Jonathan
that.
Runyon.
I don't know how John does it. I don't. I mean, I think John is an amazing actor. I think he's fantastic. And I just don't know how those people have seen so much of the other side of it and can like, they're like severance. They're severed. Yeah. And then they're like on the performance floor.
But what do you mean? Why would is it a perspective thing? Like, why would he be so turned off after
Not
scenes?
turned off, but aware. Just
how hard it is?
Or just like what's kind of happening on the other side or what can be said on the other side. Like, it's just like, it wasn't for me. I'm sad about it, but yeah, it's true.
See, I think I would use it as like a feedback signal. Like you giving me feedback earlier, I would.
You know what I mean? It's true. I really I'll just lay down. We can do a therapy session about it. But I I really wanted to be an actor. And no, I really wish that, I think you just have to be incredibly brave.
Yeah.
And incredibly like resilient.
Yeah, that's a good word.
To be an actor. And I did not have enough of either to like really get it going.
How do you find like assistants and session directors now? What is it? What do you guys post to like job
people
boards?
reach out. People want to do it all the time.
Right. So isn't that interesting? And how many of them are actors?
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's exactly why I got the internship. They want to learn about the other side of it. And every time, Mike, we have like a session director training, or on the very rare times that we have to hire somebody to like be like a reader for us, which is so uncommon in a commercial, but from time to time, when we do actors for that, like, oh, we love Mike, we'll do him for this, you know what I mean? They walk out of the room and they're like, wow. I'm like, right? It is like the fastest way to learn about the other side. It's crazy.
Yeah, I sat in, what's the guy from West Side Comedy? Colin?
Oh, Sweeney?
Sweeney. Mm-hmm. He was a session director at 200 South.
Yeah.
And he let me sit in with him once. And everyone thought I was the director, which was great.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
But he was like, no.
People don't know who you are, and they're just like,
he introduced me every time. He's like, it's just my friend. But that was eye-opening. And I sat in for like a holiday commercial.
Mm-hmm. And it's eye-opening in both ways. Like, you can see how people are really struggling, or the things that are like immediate that are like, oof. Yeah. Note to self, never doing that in the room again. And you can see the people who are just like, wow, that's how it's done. That's why you're doing it and I'm not. Like, it's so eye-opening, truly.
Do you find that there's certain people that are good as session directors, or like what is that thing that makes a good session director? Because like I think Runyon, you guys use Runyon, he's phenomenal. He's our
first call. For
sure. And he always gives me great notes and great feedback, it feels like. So what do you find is the best session director? What do they have in common?
The best session directors are, somebody from the office is always going to start the session and set the direction for the day, or that whatever spot, the scene. And the best session directors are really able to stick to those beats, to like keep that same rhythm going. And I don't mean like everybody doing it the same way, but like really remembering the moments of the spot and the script that are important to hit, or important beats to get from each performer. So that's really important to us, because we have definitely said, and John knows this, I'm not like speaking out of turn. We've been like, we'll call him at like 11. It's getting off track. That's what it means. Like, keep the train on track.
Yeah.
It's getting off track. Okay. So that's the first thing that I think is really, really great about solid session runners. The other thing I think that's great about them is being able to communicate with actors. Like, you see it, I'm sure you've felt it all the time in like a callback, like directors who can't articulate what they need from you. You're just lost up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're just like listening and nodding, because I'm totally with you and I've got it. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? So session runners who can really put it in a language that the actors understand, so helpful and important. And then I think the thing that makes like Jonathan, one of our faves, Dave Wilder, one of our faves, Robbie Descamp, one of our faves, like those guys are such good improvisers. They're very funny. They're good improvisers. Mike Danner is a great improviser. So like they are really good at helping like tweak just little funny moments and giving like little ideas. Hey, try it like this. Say it like this at the end. And they're not trying to give you guys line reads or tell you how to do it. But again, it's just like me manipulating your self-tape footage. They want us to be thrilled with the session that they've put forward. So they are trying to make you look as funny and awesome as possible. We want the tape to look amazing so that our director is like, these people are all amazing. So it's all like in service of making you guys look great, So those notes that they're giving, it's really to help you. And I think that John and Dave and Robbie and all those guys are like, they're exceptional at it. They're really, really good at that,
Go ahead.
I'm done.
How often are you guys, and I've heard that you guys watch sessions in the back.
Oh, for sure.
Are you constantly, but are you constantly really watching, or you just sort of got it on in the background?
Well, yeah.
Or both?
Both. I couldn't actually get work done and then just be like watching the whole time. You know what I mean? But we're definitely glancing, and I think a lot of times we'll watch the acting. We'll have the volume usually off or very low so that it's not distracting. And then when we want to make sure things are staying on track, we'll watch footage. But a lot of times the monitor is like, I want to make sure people look right together, or why is she wearing that weird hat? Can you please tell her to take that off? Or can you reslate him without the jacket? He looks too formal. And again, it's all in service.
Wait, when you reach out to them, how do they hear it?
We just call into the studio.
Oh, I've never seen that before.
Or I'll text.
Oh, that's funny.
So maybe
I've seen people look at their cell phone.
Yeah, John will be like, okay, that was great. So let's try that one again, Mike. And this time we're going to, because he's like gotten word. So
I'm just picturing my group that did the pizza, Pepsi, pasta. And you guys in the back being like...
That feedback was, move on.
Yeah, this group does not know what they're doing. They're stuck in Dr. Seuss land where they're like glitching out. Pizza, pasta, Pepsi, papa.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Well, not to put you on the spot, but I just quit my job. So if you guys need a session director, let me know. Because I would be curious to...
What were you doing?
I worked for a tech startup for the last 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Literally 10 years, and I just quit.
Wow.
And I'm going to take a little creative leave, and I'm like open to like part-time work. I just casting work or whatever, like PA. I just want to be around the world more because I've spent 10 years burning out in an 8 to 5.
I understand.
I gave my entire 30s to it. So I want to like do more entertainment adjacent stuff.
Yeah. That's great. Well, congrats, man. That's a cool new
I know. Thank you. I'm very excited. Everyone's been so supportive.
I mean, it's exciting, I think, when people like branch off from something they've been doing for a really long time. That's like, it's brave and it's cool.
It is definitely brave. But what I realized a couple weeks ago, I had like 5 in-person auditions in a week, which was crazy. A couple at 200 South, couple at, Wilshire, 4125 Wilshire or whatever. And what I realized was like, I've never gone to an audition and not been in a hurry to get back to work and checking work Slack during it. And I'm like, I'd like to think I can compartmentalize, but I'm curious how much of that is bleeding through into my audition where I'm like, oh, I got to get back to work. I got to get back to my desk and respond to the Slack. So I'm interested. I haven't had an in-person since I just quit this week. But I'm curious how much that'll open me up. Yeah, how it'll feel.
That's so funny, Mike, because when I walk in the lobby and I see everybody and then I'm like, okay, well, Mike just finished his audition and now he's off to wherever. I don't know. Smoothie at Irwan, or what does the day hold for you? I'm always just like, that's my romantic like fantasy about what it is to be an actor. Is like you just have like several auditions a day and then you're just, like maybe you teach a yoga class. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm like envisioning, this like beautiful, relaxing life. And you're like, I'm like rushing to this and then I'm checking work Slack and I'm like, oh, that sounds very stressful.
It's not great.
It's not great.
And I imagine it has to be like, if I'm on my phone in an audition, historically, it's looking at my work Slack, like, which sucks.
Yeah.
Because I'm the type that hates having unread stuff, and I like to reply right away. So work bleeds into those for sure. As much as I do love a treat after an audition, I go to Chipotle on Larchmont usually as my treat, not Erewhon, but. So hopefully I get more in person in the next few weeks and I get to explore that. But I think a lot of us probably are hurrying to the next gig or something.
I know. That's just like my romantic idea of what like this blissful California life could be.
I haven't had 2 in person in the same day in a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
But you do a lot of self-taping.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But like to go to the next audition hasn't been a thing forever.
I have a question for you about the self-taping because oftentimes, well, not often, we really try to be like very conscious of like not putting too much on you guys or like very last minute. We always feel terrible when it's like, these are due same day. But I'll say like, this is same day, but it's a very simple audition. I'll put it in like all caps so that people are like, and I'm like, do they think they're like, what's very simple about it, bitch? I got to set up my backdrop, my ring light. I got to upload all this stuff. Like, if it's just like, I just want you to interview by your plants and tell me a little, like, that's really easy. Like, how hard is that to shoot? Like, what is it very simple to even do the simplest on self-tape?
I think it depends on who you ask. I think a lot of actors resent it because you have to tear everything down. I have a nice little room here that I can do it in.
Right, okay.
But even still, I have to set up the lights. I have to get the camera all organized. The full body shot, you got to pull it all the way back. So I think a lot of people resent it. I try to think of it in a positive light, like, all right, here's I get to do what I get to do.
Yeah.
But self-tapes, you definitely don't, turn on. You don't get nervous. You don't get excited. Like,
yeah. Well, that's definitely, I think, like the hardest part of how frequent the self-tapes are now since the pandemic, where it's like, yeah, but people had how much time to practice that dialogue or do how many takes to get this? And then you get in the room and they're like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think most of us or the good ones have learned don't do it exhaustively, right?
Yeah.
Give yourself 4 takes or whatever it is and send in 2 of those. But my mom was like shocked. I don't know. She came out like 6 months ago and I was like, I got a non-union commercial that pays $1,000. Let me see what I can do. I did like 3 takes. She's like, wait, aren't you going to keep going? I'm like, Mom, you can't overthink this. Literally.
You can't overthink it, Mom.
And she's like, oh, and she was like, she's like, well, really shocked.
Yeah. I think we should should do another one. Don't go so slow, Mike.
I think a lot of us have realized like you just kind of have to think about it, give it your best few options, and then let it go. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It's tough. I mean, it's weird.
Yeah. I always feel so bad. I mean, whenever I have the opportunity to tell actors, like we really feel terrible when it's like same day stuff because I know it's not easy.
Oh, it's tough.
And please know that we would never like just choose to wait till morning and send those out. You know what I mean? Like it's obviously because we've had a very we're scrambling too. Like if you guys are scrambling, just know that casting in the office is also freaking out and scrambling to fix things while y'all are scrambling to put the ring light up in the back. We're all scrambling when that happens.
Yeah. The only thing that bugs me is if I get it at like 6 p.m. and it's for the next day and I have plans that night and I'm like, oh, I was going to go get drunk at trivia tonight. Yeah,
but can't you do it in the morning or no?
No, I could, but that's when I get mad is when I'm like, it comes late and I have plans.
When we interfere with you
Exactly. Most of the time, I'm going to do it the day I get it anyways. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't care. But, like, if I have plans to go do something, that's when I'm annoyed. But whatever. I'm happy to have a chance.
All righty.
How'd this go? How do you feel? We're at an hour.
All right, great.
It wasn't nothing to be nervous about.
No.
You're going to go home glowing.
It was a great first date.
Oh, my God. All right, you got to. This was great.
Oh,
Thank
I have to
you.
say something again now?
It's Tail Slate.
Oh, Tail Slate? Do we do this? I'm Lindsay Bronson again. Still Lindsay Bronson.
That was great. Thank you.
MTV and the Channel E. A thing for celebrities.
I don't know what Mike's going to ask me.